Let's meet our special guest for the morning. It's Richard Herring, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you.
Loving the face fur.
I'm building it up, Take it down.
Now, of course, the standout stand-up is about to resurrect his sellout Edinburgh show, The Hitler Moustache, and take it on tour, which explains, I guess, why you've got.
Yes, I'm building up to take it, so there it is, but that's it there. I'm hidden away underneath. Yeah, I'm starting in Folkestone on Friday, so I'm going to shave on Friday.
Is that you?
That is me, yeah, that's frightening, isn't it?
Wow, that is terrifying.
You see, but that's the whole point of the tour, isn't it? Is that people go and immediately go, oh, that's terrifying, but we forget Charlie Chaplin had one first.
Yeah, and it was very fashionable in the 1910s, 1920s. Lots of people had it. I mean, I think my granddad had a little tiny one based on Chaplin, really. You know,
they called it a toothbrush moustache.
Toothbrush moustache, yeah.
So the tour is an attempt to claim back the moustache?
The idea originally was just I couldn't work out why Hitler still is, you know, it's associated only with Hitler, and I wanted to reclaim it for comedy for Charlie Chaplin, but I just thought it was interesting that the moustache seems to have taken the blame, along with, like, no one's called Adolf anymore, and the swastika's changed its meaning from a Hindu symbol of peace, you know, so Hitler's got these little victories, and it was a fashionable moustache, and I just wanted to see whether it was, you know, whether it was possible to go out with it in the street in modern Britain.
And the whole show is focused entirely on the tash?
Well, it's sort of about, it takes on lots of issues of how you judge people by their appearance, and then it also goes into a lot about racism and things like that, because the BNP won these 2 seats when I had the moustache. I was walking around with this moustache.
It's your fault.
It was actually the day I chose to shave down was that. And but then I started wondering, can I have this moustache when the BNP have won these seats? And it sort of turned into being like a protest against that.
We're going to talk specifically about Hitler's tash a little later on. I just thought I was interested to see whether the show was focused on the one subject, because the last time you were here, you were talking about a totally different project.
Yeah.
And you were worried you weren't going to make any money because you were going to do a live show in a venue with people paying to see you, and then broadcasting it at the same time on the internet for free.
Yeah.
Pay money, get it free. Pay money, get it free. Did anybody pay?
They did. It worked out OK. It came together. It's called As It Occurs to Me. You can still get it from iTunes. It's like it's quite strong. It's not for the faint of heart. So because it's uncensored, you know, it's like doing a radio show but without any restrictions at all. So it, you know, I really pushed the boat out at times. But yeah, it sort of built up. And we actually sold out the last show. Sold out. 400 people came to see it. So I haven't had the figures back about whether I have made any money. But it wasn't really about the money.
No, but it's still quite interesting whether people would pay when they can get something.
And
for free.
We're going to do another series in May, June, July. So I think it's, you know, it was very hard work. So I was basically writing a show in a day and then performing it the next day. It was a sketch show and a stand-up show about the week and about my week.
Richard, is online comedy the way forward for you? I mean, does it help promote you more?
I hope so.
Doing it like that.
I mean, I think partly I do another podcast with Andrew Collins, the Collins and Herring podcast, and I think people listen to them for free, and then hopefully they'll come and pay to see my show Hitler Moustache as it tours around the country. So I think it's like music, actually, you know, that you're giving stuff free on the internet. And then hopefully
it's a different experience coming to see somebody live.
Yeah, well, it definitely is. You know, you get more coming to the live show, but then it's nice that people who aren't in London.
Would you give up, you know, exclusive material purely for the internet in order to get people to come to your shows? Because that's kind of what bands
that is sort of what this is. You know, I mean, it's like doing a show that I'm not going to do anywhere else. Right. So it's material that I'm not going to do anywhere else. But I think you do. You know, 30,000 people download those shows every week. So if each of those 30,000 people came and saw my tour,
do you resent it?
You'd be
giving
really
for nothing.
It's actually just great to have the freedom to do what you want to do, and I think it's not all about the money. You know, and I think you will, if you do something good, you'll end up making money from it.
Yeah, because it raises awareness. Don't they say you're getting back with Stuart Lee?
That's not. No, they don't say that. Because that's.
Is that not true, or is it true?
It's not true. No, we haven't got any plans to do anything at the moment.
Right.
But there's no reason why.
I'd heard.
There's no reason why we wouldn't. But we haven't got anything.
Anything's possible. Well, all sorts of people are getting back together at the moment.
They are. Yeah. So we'll see.
It's OK. Anne's still getting over the fact I'm getting married.
We occasionally, as we go through life, we end up getting back together and presenting the odd radio show. I think we're going to do a sort of saga-type radio morning show one day.
Because you'll do that as well.
It was Richard without Judy, and now you're effectively doing Anne without Nick, aren't you?
But funny enough,
the circle is squared.
That began with. I was going to do it with Nick. I came up with the idea of doing the Richard and Nick show. And I tried, and I had a meeting with
Dick and Nick
about doing a morning show with me and him, but it didn't. That didn't come to it.
Anyway, great team, I think. Great team, and great to have you with us as well this morning. This is what is happening on Monday's show.
So what percentage of parents would lie about their beliefs to get their kids into a faith school? The answer is 14%.
Thanks Thanks very much. You're watching The Right Stuff with Anne Diamond, Nihal Arthanaika and our special guest Richard Herring. In about 10 minutes or so, Richard's going to take us through the rest of today's headlines. But first, I wonder if you think David Miliband is a hypocrite or not. Right Stuff at 5.tv is the address if you fancy pinging us an email with your thoughts. Yes, he is, says the Daily Mail. They're furious with our Foreign Secretary, a self-confessed atheist, for choosing a faith school, a Church of England primary school for his son, instead of the state school, which is literally on his doorstep, and mine, because, unbelievably, we're neighbours, as it turns out. Anyway, he rejected a Primrose Hill primary, rated outstanding by Ofsted, which is just 80 yards from the doorstep of his £1.5 million home in North London, in favour of the Holy Trinity and St Silas School, which is rated exceptional, but nearly 2 miles away from his front door. Now, if he was acting alone, then I guess he definitely would be a hypocrite. But he's not. He's married, and his wife, Louise, was raised a strict Protestant in the States, a Lutheran. So maybe the faith school was her idea, and I know she's been turning up at a church linked to that school for the last 2 years. So is David Miliband a hypocrite or not, Nihal? What do you think?
Absolutely not, actually. This rears its ugly head, doesn't it, from time to time, where there was, I remember, you know, Labour MPs...
Diane Abbott famously
Labour MPs aren't allowed to
school,
send their kids to private schools. I mean, this guy's an atheist. He presumably is open-minded and intelligent enough to allow his children to have their own path when it comes to religion, and send them to a school where, if they learn about God, he can come back and debate with them about religion, and he can talk to them about it. And he should be allowed to send his children to what school he wishes to. As you rightly pointed out, he hasn't been going to church, because you have to do that whole turn up at church for 2 years and say, "Morning, Vicar, I read in Romans this morning that it was," you know, and all that stuff. And
I read in Romans this morning that I can get a really good education for my child if I keep turning up on Sundays.
Yeah, exactly, and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, he's obviously not doing that. Atheism isn't a religion. It's his personal belief. He doesn't believe in it, but it's good that he's not trying to impose that on his children, you know, and he's not being so kind of dogmatic that he would let his children's education suffer because of his non-belief.
Are you as easygoing with it as that, Richard?
Well, I mean, yeah, where are these atheist schools he's meant to send his kids to, and also, you know, it's...
Well, there was one just down the road, that's the point.
It
wasn't an atheist school.
Well, it's not an atheist school, it's a non-religious...
non-faith.
If you took every child, if every parent had to believe the thing that the school said, and both parents had to believe it, there wouldn't be many kids.
No, there wouldn't.
If they absolutely had to genuinely believe it, you know.
And it's worth pointing out that faith schools are state-funded. I mean, there's an argument about whether or not the state should be funding any religious schools at all, but they are state-funded, so it's not like they're being sent off to
but this is a government which is constantly doing things and saying things that are making life difficult for faith schools. And you know, they on the one hand, they say they want to increase parental choice, but they do make it very difficult for faith schools. You get this feeling they look down their nose. They look down their nose at people who choose faith schools, and then suddenly we see this again. We see somebody who is exercising choice.
That? People are opening Muslim schools, and there was Sikh schools that are open. Where are they trying to make it so difficult? In what example?
Well, they do make it difficult.
But how? You can't just say they do.
On the one hand, well, I don't know the ins and outs.
Oh, well, there you go.
OK, all I'm saying is, as long as he isn't a hypocrite, as long as his government isn't making it difficult for people to make the same choice he's just made.
Does it matter? Because I mean, I take a slightly different view from all of you, which is that it may have absolutely nothing to do with him whatsoever. I mean, if it was a Catholic, the only religion that I understand, due to going to a Catholic school myself, was that if one of you is a Catholic, you're under obligation by the church to raise your child as a Catholic, regardless of the other parent's religious views. It should be a Catholic. That's your obligation. Therefore, in this relationship, atheist C of E, she may have a similar religious obligation placed on her.
And you start to think about these things.
It's therefore her choice.
Yeah, I mean, you start to debate about these things when your children get to a certain age, and you know you're going to have to put their name down for a school. That's when you start to think about it. He may well have said, "I don't care," and she says, "Well, I do care, and I want them to go to a faith school."
Absolutely. So whether
all I'm saying is that they were able to exercise the choice. As long as everybody is, that's fine. As long as their government makes sure that everybody is able to exercise the same choice, and that's what I fear.
OK. Well, let's see if you lot agree. You can email your thoughts on this. rightstuff@5.tv is the address. After the ads, though, it's Richard with the rest of today's papers, including the 7-year-old British hero doing wonders for Haiti, and why it's not handy being ambidextrous. Those and lots more stories after the ads. Don't go away.
According to today's Sun, which of these wild and crazy stars has given up the booze? Shane MacGowan, Amy Winehouse or Keith Richards? Find out in 3.